Welcome everybody back to another season of the Teacher's Surgery. Let's go. All right, so today we've got Adnan, we've got Carl, we've got Dan in the building. Let's go. All right, line of, yeah. You know what I noticed? Yeah, I struggle to say loud round of applause. It's a tongue twister, you know. I didn't realize that until recently. Anyway, so guys, we've got a question today. It's why is sexual abuse by women not taken seriously when it comes to boys? When it comes to women sexually abusing boys, why is it that's not taken as harshly and seriously? Dan, you look like you're about to
I
start.
don't know. I think a lot of it is generally it's not highlighted as much, and I think that comes down to male pride. Sorry, guys, but you know what guy wants to say that woman sexually abused me? Where women are quite upfront and will say that's sexual harassment. You can't do that, or I've been abused or rashed. I think that's some of it behind it. So, in the eye of the public, it's not really identified as much from a man's point as it is from a woman's.
Mm.
You guys can carry on.
I do agree with that. I think from a boy's perspective, it is all about credibility, street cred. You know, look, I scored an older person.
Yeah.
You know, I've got that score.
Yeah.
But I think the bigger question here is from the educator's perspective or the female's perspective. Ultimately, it's grooming. At the end of the day, you are grooming a young, impressionable mind, whether it's a boy or a girl or whatever. Ultimately, you know, you are in a position of power, so it's very important that you are respectful and you hold your power to account. Yeah.
It goes back to the way that traditionally boys and girls have been socialized. I mean, when you look at this subject of older women taking younger boys, there's films like The Graduate. Is it with Dustin Hoffman, where he was a freshman in college and his dad's friend was the one that seduced him? I think there's a film like that. It's always traditionally been looked at as, you know, a young stud, you know, sowing his oats or whatnot, what have you. But what we've got to understand in terms of this particular crime, because it is a crime, and why it's a safeguarding issue is that more often than not, the adult, whether it's a male or female, is showing predatory behavior. They don't just pick anybody to do that. What they do is they tend to find young people who are quite vulnerable. They look for young people who, for example, might have difficulties at home, have indications. The same if it was a boy and a girl. It's exactly the same, a woman doing it to a young boy. And why it's so insidious is not only the act of rape or of the young man, and we have to say it that way, or sexual assault of the young man. It's the psychological tools that they use to groom this young man, which has an impact even after the fact. So the young man might think he's getting street cred, but the things that they've done, so for example, saying that, you know, I'm the only one that will love you, and all these different things, gaslighting, love bombing, all these things, which will pose serious problems for them psychologically going forward in the future and affect their life. And that is why we have to highlight this more.
We do, but I think that it goes back to they keep quiet about it because they don't want to admit it's happened to them.
Mhm.
So that's why it's not highlighted as publicly as it is the other way round.
But there was that recent case, wasn't it, with that female teacher grooming one of her students. But she was caught on CCTV buying belts and designer wear for her student, which was a tactic to groom the young child.
But Dan, I don't think it's a case of why isn't it exposed as much. I think even in cases when it is highlighted, it's the public perception of that woman compared to when it's a man that's done it. I think that's what we're talking. It's like,
but what I'm trying to go with that, you see it, I say quite a lot, but where women are talking about their stories, if men were to do the same, it would be exposed more and it would get more of a reaction from people in the public. You know, like we've said earlier and in other shows, media plays a big part in everything from the education system to the way people think do. If it was exposed more on media, it would be highlighted more to people. This is an issue. And that's where I'm going with that. Because people don't speak up from a male's point of view, it's not got the exposure. So when it happens, it's like the case you're talking about, it's a one case. Everyone talked about it 2 days, gone.
all right.
But if you look at a different story of if it was a male or person doing it to a female, it would still be going on that story for a few days.
Yeah, you've got that movement, haven't you? I forgot the name of that movement with women.
Me Too.
The Me Too campaign.
Yeah.
Does that include men? Does that include boys?
I think
Does
I've
the Me
seen
Too
it. I've seen
campaign-
because with I mean it's mostly women, and we are going to wrap up. But I've seen, we understand that in those industries that the Me Too campaign target, which is a lot of the times powerful men in positions. They do take advantage of men and women.
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys have? I wouldn't know. In now the ladies' toilets, when you go out, they have a. Oh, I'm gonna say it's ask for Alice set.
Yeah.
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 Do you have that in the men's
because
toilets?
it's not as prevalent.
Um,
I'm gonna wrap up, but I think the main case is
Can
because
I just explain? Because I know I'm not really confused what I'm on about now. So there's a poster that you read when you're going in the ladies' room, but it's if you're on a date or you feel uncomfortable in the situation you're in, go to the bar. It's asked for Amanda Allison, whatever the name is, and the bar staff will then help remove you from the premises.
yeah, it's a code word that
I
you
think
could
I
go
know
to the
what you're
bar.
talking about.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Again, in our toilets, we have that. You don't.
It's because it's shared numbers as well. You know, it's not even comparable the amount of sexual assault committed to women compared to that is committed to men. It's most women. I think that does play a large part. But I'm gonna wrap up there for this part. And again, these are chunky subjects, so it's just because we know that we probably have to have like part 10 to really dissect this. But we are gonna move on to the next one. All right. So the next question that we're doing is, all right, it's a bit more lighthearted. Cool. All right. Is, are teachers hypocrites? Do they have a do as I say and not as I do attitude? Are teachers, are you a hypocrite?
Am I a hypocrite?
Yeah.
I don't think I am. I think it's important that with educators, there need to be it needs to be a two-way conversation. I think the case before you were talking about do as I say, don't use your phones, but it's that approach that you take. You know, I've seen cases where teachers say don't use your phones, but they're using the phones themselves. Then absolutely, you are a hypocrite.
Do you not do that?
No, of course not. I haven't been
But
in the
then
classroom for many
you're
years.
adult, you're a teacher. You can be
When I'm
like,
in the
"Listen,
classroom,
take your phone down."
my phone will not be used. Ultimately, you are a role model in that class. You need to make sure that whatever you are saying, you
I
are
know Dan
also.
uses her phone.
Well, the question is, if you're using your phone, do you tell your students not to use your phone?
No, I encourage using phones in the classroom because I think it allows you to research. It actually keeps you engaged. I remember before when I taught, I'm not very
But they're
well
not researching,
behaved.
Dan. They're on TikTok and Instagram.
No, but this is what I'm going to say with this different one. Some do research. You'll actually be surprised. Say you can use quizzes, put a quiz on your phone. But I taught a class of, let's just say, 33 boys in a group that were not very well behaved.
Then you know you won't use and you won't implement that strategy in that classroom.
Okay, so you've answered 10 questions. You've had a quick flip at Snap. Now go back to your questions. Quite bad teaching, but they learned. They sat in the classroom. Their behaviour changed. So I do encourage phones. And I have gone on my phone to bring up quizzes. I want to sit there texting my friends or...
Are there instances of you being a hypocrite, though? That is the question. Are there, do you think, other teachers, do they have a do as I say and not as I do? Are there things that you tell your
Some
students
do, and I think one of the biggest ones that really gets to me is no eating and drinking in the classroom, but I'm going to bring my coffee in. Yeah. The learners have as much time in the day as you do for their mid-morning breaks and everything else, but you're going to have your coffee. I didn't have time, but then that is, I think, my biggest one.
You got punctuality. You come in late to the classroom as a teacher, but you're droning into the students that punctuality is important.
No, but I'm a teacher.
Those kids are going to call you out.
I wouldn't say they're hypocrites and they're doing it intentionally. I think it's an unconscious thing that they do and are not aware of.
But shouldn't it? You are a teacher. They are students. Let me bring my coffee. I might need to answer the phone because my son needs my. What? You're a student. Do as I say. What's going on?
Look, if
That's
I bring
why
coffee,
when it was Young T's episode, them lot said they don't respect it. There's no authority anymore.
I think
probably because of hypocrites.
You're all friends. You're all friends. You're all on the same level now.
I think what we have to define here is the word authority. Now, when we use the word authority, there's actually two parts to authority. There's what we call positional authority, which is your external. It is your title. It's your rank. It's people can see that, right? So, for example, Keir Starmer. I was going to say Rishi Sunak. Keir Starmer. He's only been in the job like a month. I'm forgetting. Keir Starmer has more positional authority than Sadiq Khan, right? because that's his title, that's his office. As a teacher, you are in a position of authority. But what people underestimate is what is known as personal authority, which is your character, right? It's the person who you are. And what people, so for example, if you look at someone like Martin Luther King or Mahatma Gandhi, they were not politicians, they were not celebrities, but because of their character, who they were, right? Personal authority is not seen, it's something which is felt, it's intrinsic. They changed the course of history. So I think as teachers, we've got to understand that you as a teacher, you've got authority, yes, do as I say, not as I do. But the kids that really respect those teachers and like those teachers is the ones that have personal authority, character authority, the ones that have integrity, because that's what I think you're talking about. If I tell you not to eat and I'm yamming my, Starbucks or whatever I've got in my hand, then the kids are not going to respect that. And as young T said, why should I respect you if you're not doing that? I always say when I was teaching was, I'll never ask you to do something I'm not willing to do. So if, for example, it's cold in a room, I remember there was a head teacher, it was freezing, the heater was broken, and the kids were freezing, but the head teacher insisted that everybody take off their jacket. And teachers were wrapping up like, it was like, it was like that. And I said, no, I want to freeze with you. Because I said to the teachers, because I said to the kids, if they're freezing and I'm freezing, if we freeze together, we're all wearing our jacket. And I had an argument with the head teacher. But the kids respected that because I had integrity. I can't sit there all nice and cozy while they're all freezing. So that is what is really important.
But when was that policy implemented for
kids
to not...
The head teacher was very much on uniform standards or whatnot, but it was freezing, and it was like the top floor, it was freezing. But he's like, no, if we get them all wearing their jackets, blah blah blah. But I was like, no, they can't freeze. Either we all take off our jackets, or we all put on our jackets. I can't sit there while they're freezing.
I think it does happen, but I don't think it's with any intent. Like I say for the eating the sandwich in the classroom, you've all been there where you have got caught up with a learner, or you've got caught on corridor conversations, and you just think, I just need a little bit. You run in, you've eaten it, but you shouldn't because they're not allowed.
We're just going to wrap up there. All right. So that's another episode of the Tts Surgery. All right. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff, and look out for more episodes. All right. Until next time, take care. All right.